Welcome to Clarity Talks. It's a pleasure from Nahid Khan and I to welcome you on our fourth episode in the Leadership Behavior series. A quick one for those who's catching this the first time. Feel free to see the previous three on our YouTube or jump onto our Telegram group to get the links to it. What are we talking about today? Probably the most important episode in this series, the Leadership Behavior series. We are talking about strategic self-development, SSD, clarity in strategic self-development. What do we mean by that? Heard the phrase? Not having a plan is a plan to fail. And that's what we mean. Those of us who are from the background of corporate strategy and business strategy and marketing, even learning and development, and any other function, we've got strategy from an organizational perspective always on the top of our head, right in the forefront. And we always think everything about strategy is to do with an organization. But let me ask you this question. How many times have you actually gone to your human resource, wherever you're working, whichever organization, whatever be the size, and said, I'd like to undertake these areas of training or development in the next 12 months. And that's what Nahid's going to be explaining very shortly, what we mean when we say strategic self-development. It's all about being strategic with your own personal development. Nahid, over to you on how do we create clarity and how do we create a strategic self-development plan.
You said it very right, Joy. We all have a lot of plans for our own self-development. And most of the times, even when I worked with corporates, I used to see that organizations used to plan these charts of, training calendars and everything. And then they used to allocate people in them based on the analysis which was done, based on the feedback which has been given, based on the performance review which has been done. But there was very little inputs from the people. And I'm not saying that they were not asked. Yes, they were. But what was the level of awareness of these people when I'm being asked, what is it that you'd like to develop? First thing that I look at is, according to my performance review, where are the areas that I'm weak? So I want to develop those areas. And that's usually what we see people going and doing. They go to develop the areas in which they are weak. That's a good strategy, but that's not the best strategy. Because what those areas that you're weak, again, are based on, yes, your performance, all right, which is again based on the work that you're doing, which is again, a lot depends on what is the purpose behind the work that you're doing. There is a complete chain of thought process which goes in our own performance, all right. And when I have a strategic development plan for myself, I am not just aware of my weaknesses, but I'm also aware of my opportunities. People usually focus on strengths and weaknesses. I say, look at that middle area where your opportunities lie. Because yes, of course, you should develop your weaknesses. Yes, of course, you should work on your strengths. But those opportunities are the place where you get out of your comfort zone and growth dances with you.
I'm going to interrupt right here. That's the convergence point of where you stretch your comfort zone, so to speak. That's the point where your strengths actually turn into great growth areas through those opportunities. And you need to identify those.
Yes.
Once you know those, boom.
Yeah. So getting that clarity needs you to first identify your own strengths, not your perceived strengths, and not the strengths which have been told to you, not the opinions of others, but your own inner strengths. And when I say inner strengths, it goes beyond skills and competencies. It goes to your behavior, it goes to your passion, it goes to your purpose, it goes to your own life mission, it goes in a lot of other directions. So getting down and doing what we have been discussing for quite some time now, Joy, is desired outcome. Getting down and doing my desired outcome, and then looking at to achieve this desired outcome, to become this desired outcome, to become this legacy that I want to become, what are the things that I need to do? What are the areas that I need to develop? Culture, and we've spoken about accountability. This is where you are accountable for your own, not just growth, but for your legacy.
I'm going to add on one bit over there. Realization or understanding or comprehension of self from what do I want to achieve as a desired outcome and when creates that passion area that, in marketing that when I work with you, you've seen, I ask people in their personal brands, what's your passion? What's your interest? To recognize that passion and interest, you've got to be able to articulate what do I want that desired outcome bit and by when. To get there, clarity. To get to that clarity, well, sorry, right at the moment you got to come talk to Naheed and I. There's no two ways about it. That's how I'm seeing it.
Yep, that's all it is there to it. So, yeah, clarity in strategic self development, not just go out and have a growth plan for yourself, but be very, very strategic about your growth plan. Because as we had spoken in the very beginning of these series, that there have been millions of dollars, billions of dollars which are invested in leadership development every year. But what is the rate of effectiveness? And that's because the gap, if you just go to see where the gap is right there for you to see. And that's in understanding the clarity of what is it that
Yeah.
I want to become, and then what are the tools that I need to have. And for that, the first thing, and I always say this, the first thing for any development or any development initiative is mindset.
Mindset. Spot on. Spot on. And I'm gonna wrap this up with that. Clarity and mindset is critical in order to know yourself. When you understand yourself, you understand your behavior. When you understand your behavior, you'll see you've led yourself to a point. And Naid's highlighted this in our leadership behavior episode, so catch it. You'll know what we are talking about. And when you understand your self leadership and how you want to drive yourself in terms of behavior, the accountability and the culture fits in. And that's where the last peg of this entire series, strategic self strategic development, comes in. Have a plan by understanding what you want your legacy to be. It's not a 1 year plan. It's not a 90 days plan. It's not a 5 year plan. It's a dynamic, ongoing plan. Clarity Talks, Nahid and I would be running our leadership behavior workshops covering these four topics of leadership behavior, accountability, culture, strategic self development. Take it when we advertise it. It's coming up in the next fortnight. Join us. Follow us on our social media. Any questions, ping us. We'd be happy to answer them back to you. Take care. Stay safe. See you next time, next week. Join us on our community group on Telegram for Clarity Talks and follow Nahid Khan and I on our social media. The links are shown here.